Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, welcome to my new people. So we're going to go ahead and look into that third party. I had promised you a few readings when we did the live one on Friday, that just things that seem to be growing out of that reading. And one of them was around third parties. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that, just kind of see what's happening with them. One person had asked, and it was one of the comments, somebody had asked if they're really going to leave their third party. So hopefully we can get an answer to that while we're in here. But definitely just kind of understand what's happening with that third party, because it feels like things may be kind of on the shift again there. So of course it's going to be a general reading for this collective, as always. Won't resonate with everybody, shouldn't resonate with everyone. But if it does resonate with you, then by all means, be sure to subscribe, because I think there's every one of these videos is very much connected. You're going to want to take a look at some of the other messages that have come out if you're noticing that this is if this is your story. So what we'll start with today is just kind of the energy that around your person. And we are especially inviting in the energy that is associated with that third party. So, okay, just right off the bat, we've got Six of Earth, and it's so one of the interesting things that I've noticed about this deck, okay, this is just, I mean, it's a beautiful, wonderful deck. It's kind of got its own, it's a Dreams of Gaia tarot, and it's kind of got its own thing going on. It's not like a traditional tarot with the 78 cards. It's a little bit different from that. But what I've noticed is that the earth energies that come out of this deck are often perceptions held by somebody that, viewed from a different perspective, may or may not come across the same way. So I don't think I don't think your person is wrong. I think that their third party would view it differently. So basically, this is feeling like their energy is not being properly matched by that third party. Like they have brought something that, they are disappointed by what the third party is bringing. They feel a need to control it. So we've got the King of Fire here in the reverse. These are not the strong and good elements of the King of Fire. Unfortunately, this is not the let me get things done. This is the I'm all out of ideas, and now I'm going to it's the energy of feeling like you need to force something. So they're disappointed and they feel like they need to force something. That's kind of the energy that's happening with them and their third party right now. We've got more of that energy of control with the Sultan card. And it's like the tradition, or in the traditional tarot, this would be the Emperor. And we've got, okay, so here's the traditional Empress in the reverse, Emperor in the upright. And this is about things not being a good match. Now, keep in mind, this is not about you and your person. This is about that third party, your person and their third party. So it could be a job they don't resonate with. It could be a family member that they can no longer get away or get along with. It could be a spouse or a long-term relationship where things are just falling apart. I mean, we've kind of seen that. We've seen that kind of in some different places in these readings. And so here we asked what the energy was, and what we're getting is there's a desire to control on your person's side, heavy on the unhealed masculine energy. That's heavy on the unhealed masculine energy, but they are being matched by remarkably unhealed feminine energy. So it is not an easy place to be, as far as the relationship between these two is not super helpful. I wonder if maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking back to that live recording on Friday, which I know we had some glitches, and I'll try and clean that up this time. So I was thinking about doing another one this upcoming Friday. I did a post with a little bit of an opportunity to vote a little bit ago. So you can vote for what time would work best for you if it doesn't work well for you the time that I was doing before. Or even if it does, if there's a better time. And let me look real quick and see. So I'm just going to refresh real quick. Yep, it looks like Friday. So Friday is the day that I plan to do it. It looks like noon is currently the time that is winning. Noon my time. So that's noon, like US Central Time, same time zone as Chicago. That would be 6 p.m. London time. So some of you who are in the UK would have an opportunity to get home. Some of you who are in the US may have an opportunity to be on lunch. So that's essentially what I'm going to be doing. As you guys know, I have a day job. And so basically this is when am I putting my lunch? And so if it's 7 a.m., it's not going to be my lunch. If it's 4 p.m., I'll move things around and it won't be my lunch. But if it's any of the other times, I'll just be moving my lunch period around. And I should have the flexibility to do that this upcoming week. So every week's a little bit different. But we'll just kind of take it as it comes. So again, Friday at noon, US Central Time is what's currently winning. If you have a preference, go ahead and get in there. It's on YouTube. It's a post that has like you have an opportunity to vote. Get in there and vote if you think this is something you'd be interested in. And I will do it at the time that the most people vote for. So getting back to this energy between you and your person. Oh, and by the way, keep track of what questions you want, because you can also comment in there for the topics from which I'll build that reading, or at least the start of that reading. Third party is one of the things that kind of came out of the last Friday reading. And so I just feel like we needed a reading all on its own about it. And even just looking at the energy between them, you see kind of the rocky energy, but not just that, it feels like it is growing in its rockiness. There is a certain, I hesitate to use the term confidence. It really does have a confidence, but it's like a belligerence almost. So your person has this energy of they had been kind of trying to avoid, trying to stay away from the issues around them and this third party. They seem to feel a little bit more belligerent about it now, a little bit more willing to struggle and engage and challenge. And with the Seven of Staffs, it feels like they believe they will be successful. With the Five of Staffs, that's kind of that willingness to challenge. Okay, well, let's get in there and see what else wants to come out for this, because this is the sort of, it's the sort of shift that I was feeling. It's a get off your duff and make something happen kind of shift. But I'm super curious to understand what that's actually going to look like. We'll look a little bit deeper into the energy here in a minute. This is kind of just the energy between the two of them right now. And, you know, it could be, if it's a person, it could be their boss, it could be their spouse, it could be their longtime partner, it could be somebody that's in their family, as we know. So here we have what is effectively the World card. There's a sense of this being over with. And we've seen this before where your person feels like they are done with this situation, but they have noticed the situation is not done with them. So this is just an intensifying, it's an intensified version of that this is over sort of feeling, only it's starting to spill over to where that third party is starting to feel it too. There's something that maybe could have been done at some point to make an adjustment, but that is not happening. There's a strong resistance against making any sort of real changes. And it's like the cat is out of the bag. The truth is out now, and there is a sense of others being able to see it as well. The rest of those don't fit. Let's see here. So we have the Three of Staffs in reverse. That is feeling like you should have done something a while ago to make this third party thing continue to run, but it's not happened. There was change required here, and that has never happened. It is now beyond the point where that change would actually benefit anybody. However, there's still this reluctance to move forward. We've seen a little bit of that. There's a reluctance to actually make the break and make the change, even though the truth is completely out and it's evident at this point that this is an unhealthy, just almost a toxic sort of situation that they've got going on. It's not I wouldn't wish this energy on anyone, even though I know it probably forces them to do something that's needed and that they're clearly resistant to doing. It's a super uncomfortable energy to be in. And so that for that reason, I wouldn't really wish it on anyone. So that's kind of where your person is at with this third party. Let's see what other information, like we'll just open it up and say, what do you need to know about them? Over here, you know, someone had asked the question of, are they actually going to leave this third party? In this energy, yeah, they're on their way out. They have been, though. They've been on their way out. This relationship has been over for some time. No, I just threw a bunch of cards on the ground, but this was not part of what we're using. This is, though. We've got the Queen of Water. There's an intense amount of love that is kind of shaking your person awake. It's not coming from the third party, but it's shaking your person awake with regard to the third party. And here we have the seneschal. So it's more earth energy, but this is kind of more of a feeling of what I'm honestly getting off of this card is a tendency to look back and remember. It almost feels kind of like the Six of Water or the Six of Cups energy, where there's great deal of memory and a reliance upon that memory. I feel like there is something that the love is bleeding through as the memories recur. So as they come back, and we've seen this in some of the previous readings, your person has a tendency to have these memories and then they feel a little different every time. In this case, they're starting to feel like the love is coming through a little bit more each time. Okay. Getting in a little bit deeper with that, because, you know, with the first deck, I just kind of grabbed the high level energy, and then we go in a little bit deeper and clarify. And then in the extended, we'll take our questions that come from this. So there will be some information that comes out. And if it feels like we're missing things or it brings up additional questions, we'll of course take that into the extended. I don't know what I want the extended to be just yet. Because I don't know what questions are going to come up as we're going through this. At this point, I see your person kind of moving in your direction gradually, but there's something about the third party that holds them back, and it's that force field that we've seen kind of in previous readings. Sets them off balance, sets your person off balance, and essentially it's like the air around their third party is very different. So when they get in the same place as that third party, they're off balance a little bit. They're not quite sure how to respond to things. Everything looks a little bit different to them. And we've seen this before, but that is really a big part of what's going on here. However, they're becoming more and more aware of how they feel about you and how that kind of is threatening to change things for them. They don't feel like they have a lot of options with you, feeling like they lack options and they want to kind of control the situation, but they don't have a way to pull up the edge. They don't have a way to gain that control. So they feel like they want to be controlling about how the situation with the third party plays out. They also feel like they want to be controlling about the way that your relationship kind of looks here. They have a whole way that they think about this, but what they're discovering is that even though they're putting in the effort to do, I guess, the strategy work, the thinking about how you approach something like this, they are working with faulty information. And they know this because of the truth that is out here, but because they have this resistance to moving forward and actually destroying the last vestiges of things in this third party situation. Maybe they're not ready to quit the job, or they're not ready to quit the marriage, you know, whatever it is. They're afraid we know there's a threat in there. Maybe it's we have a family and there's a family in that situation, and the third party has said you will not see the family if you break with me. That sort of thing. And that's not going to be for everybody, but it's definitely out there for a couple of you. I dropped one, but it fell face down. Let's see. So we have the Eight of Staffs. There's a desire to move quickly and some trepidation about doing so. It's a little bit like they remember, well, some of you will remember and some may not. Back in April or so, we started to see a bunch of divine masculines coming in, even the type that, you know, had been gone for years and didn't seem like there was anything really going to happen there. We started to see a lot of them coming in, but then they would get there and we would have this situation where like they didn't exactly have any idea what to do next. Like they didn't know what to do next. This time they have that same energy of not knowing where to go with this, but they also, it's like they've been in that situation before and they're way better at handling it. So you're going to see some activity from this person. We already know that from previous readings. There's a lot of them that are likely to reach out, even the ones that seem like they have been disinclined to do so. Kind of feels like it might be toward the end of this eclipse phase. So as we get closer to the full moon, you might start to see a little bit of that, but we've already started to see it coming in. There is also, though, a strong desire to stay put, to not challenge the status quo and to keep quiet. There's a strong desire to keep quiet and a strong sense of comfort within that toxicity that they're experiencing with this person. And yet we've got the Ace of Swords here, and I'll go back through and explain what all this is because I'm just kind of rolling with what it means. There's a truth that they are now much more aware of, but they have no idea how to navigate it. So the quietude coming from them, and not like the sort of quietude where they're finding answers, but the fact that they're just kind of keeping quiet. Daughter of Cups. The Fool, the equivalent of the Fool in the reverse, Salik, that is not going out and doing something new. The Alchemist is the ability to control things way better than they had the last time that they were in this situation. This is the equivalent of the Devil card. This is that devil energy just kind of saying they are much more tempted to stay in what they know than to move into something that is way outside their comfort zone. And that's where pretty much everything that looks like a solution is. And they're aware of that because they're looking directly at that truth. This is a super uncomfortable place for them to be because they feel like they're on display a little bit. And so they don't know how much of this you're aware of or you're able to see or others are able to see. But there's a lot of discomfort, just a lot of discomfort and wondering, like looking over their shoulder and not feeling very trusting, kind of more trusting of themselves than they are of anyone that is around them, whether it's you or that third party, or they are not really wired to trust strongly at this point. And yet that is something that you have the opportunity to rewire them upon they have to clear out what's happening with this third party at some point. If they're unable to clear that out, they're going to have a really hard time reconciling with you, and there could be no reunion. However, we know that the direction they're going is that internal reconciliation that opens the door for being able to reconcile with you. And so we also see them moving in that direction. But there's this situation with the third party has to be addressed. Let's, when we get into the extended, one of the things that I see here is I see kind of the nature of the situation with that third party. I see the nature of the energy between them. Let's look a little bit more at what's likely to happen. So yes, it does look like they are likely to leave this person. But there's still a healthy or unhealthy, movement toward that toxicity that relationship represents. It's a comfort zone for them. It's what they're used to. There's a bond there that is kind of has a lot of the qualities of a trauma bond. And if you look that up, you will see that that is something particularly difficult to remove yourself from. And some of you would know it quite personally because this is an experience that you may even be having with this person. Okay, so let's look at, as we always like to do, what should your focus be given everything that's out on this table? And then we will go into the extended and we'll open the reading up with kind of what you can expect to happen with this third party. Okay, so we've got, this is fire. This is fire. This is 6 of fire, 6 of wands type of energy. So that is victory. It's victory, but in what way? So it's got a great feel to it. This doesn't bother me for you. It's just, I wonder exactly what that means when we say it's victory. And we have knowledge. Victory and knowledge. Okay, so there is some element of this, and I kind of felt this earlier, but we were talking about the third party and I didn't get into it. There is something about you learning something or being aware of something. It may even be something that you become aware of within yourself. For some of you, that's not going to be the case for everybody, but it's you become aware of something. We've seen this showing up in some of the recent readings as well. Very important information that you get a hold of that helps you to reframe this situation. And in some cases, you're not getting a hold of new information. You're processing red flags that you saw a long time ago, and all of a sudden you're seeing it in a new light. Kind of like they're seeing things with you in a new light with the way they have a memory, and all of a sudden things get a little bit more gentle in their memory, a little bit more, maybe I should go back and try and understand this a little bit better. You may be having memories that kind of push you the other direction, which again, consistent with some of the readings we've seen here lately. This is also consistent, and we've seen this come up for you. So the 6 of Swords, this is about finding a little bit of time to get right with things and to understand what's really going on. You're going to be disappointed. The 4 of Cups talks about that disappointment and something in here that you're going to wish you had seen earlier. I would just say this is one of those situations where you don't want to be too hard on yourself, because sometimes seeing a red flag, even if you see it at the time, it can be very difficult to react to it the way that you would want to. But it may also deal a little bit of a blow to your own self-trust, because if you're feeling like you can't trust yourself to manage red flags effectively, then you may not feel like you're going to allow yourself to open up to the new soulmate that's heading your direction, open back up to this person when they come back. And there is opportunity for you to, somebody's opening up to you. This could be more than one person. You have the energy of this person potentially opening up to you. I would be careful if it's this person, though, because it's got that same energy that we've been seeing of not a lot of permanency. There's a whole lot of I get in, I get out, I use you for the sounding board, and then I'm out. And I don't function as a sounding board for you. So a little bit more of that uneven kind of behavior. But yet you're remarkably balanced the way you look at this. So the advice that comes out of this is really about making sure you know what you're doing, like why you're doing what you're doing. Make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. You have the gift of an incredibly balanced perspective as you address this going into the next, that energy that we were seeing yesterday where your foundation is super solid and you are like, you're not perfect. You still have all of the same things going on, but it's just, there's a feeling here of, so this victory isn't here yet. You're still in the midst of this long battle, despite the fact that you've got a little bit of time to build some clarity. This attitude may be the most important piece of it, honestly, because you're looking at, here again, a lack of them being able to deliver what it is that you need in a situation. So you seeing that. So it again, it may not be new red flags that you're seeing, might be remembering the old ones and saying, hold on, that's actually a complete deal breaker. I just can't function that way. So when they come in, you end up with a decision to make because you have to figure out if they're basically bringing that same energy that they brought you last time that caused you to say this is uneven energy, or if they're bringing something a little different. We also know that they've experienced some pretty different things. Like they've experienced some change. We've seen that coming up, that what they're bringing to you is not, they may be unhealed masculine energy, but they're not the same unhealed masculine energy that they were the last time you dealt with them. Sitara. Okay, so you're moving toward a greater, I want to use the term destiny, but it feels overused. You're moving toward a greater purpose. And this is all part of training you for that, educating you for that, giving you what you need to move toward that. You know, and I feel like I understand this ever so slightly because I also feel like, so I'm in a different place on this timeline, but I feel like the experiences that I have had have they've given me a little bit of that training and what I need in order to be able to read about this. I'm sensitive to what's happening. I'm sensitive to the folks that are also within this collective. And I understand kind of what it feels like to take something that's very challenging, turn it around and use it to help others. So there's some sense of that here. It's not necessarily you're turning around and you're actively helping others directly. It may be a little bit more indirect, but there is still a sense of you following a greater path and this being kind of a step along that path. You need to, okay, so this is going to sound harsh, but it's beautiful. Step out of your own way. There is, and oh my gosh, we see it. I'm feeling it. And then I look over and there it is in the other card. So we have this Ace of Staffs. We have this Ace of Cups. All right. And that's where it ends. I'll turn the rest of them over. Okay, so Ace of Staffs, Ace of Cups, those are new beginnings. This is a new beginning in love. This is that new soulmate energy coming your direction. This is a new beginning in hobby or whatever it is. It could be a new idea, new department at work that you're coming up with, new concept, new focus, new hobby, new something is really getting your attention here and you're encouraged to pour yourself into it and step out of your own way. Could be outside your comfort zone, but there's something really incredible that comes along with it. So you are encouraged. It's along this star path. You are encouraged to, by all means, keep moving that way. Keep moving that way. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the extended. And I think the first thing that we're going to look at is really going to be around, it's going to be around the third party and what can you expect to happen? So the link for the extended is down below the video in the text. So I will look forward to seeing you there. We'll take a closer look at what's happening with this third party. Or I think for tomorrow, we're going to broaden it a little bit and just say, what does this person want? What are their intentions? What would they want to have happen? So I think depending on what happens in the extended, that is currently what I think is going to be tomorrow's question. Something else that came out of the reading on Friday. So I will go ahead and wrap this up now and head into the extended, but thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll either see you in the extended or in tomorrow's reading.